Dukect, and before we start off here on the Dukect Lounge, and once again, thank you so much for joining me. I'll take a moment of silence for the late, great Matt Osborne, a.k.a. The original Dukect Clown, because this man recently passed away. He passed away today, and I would like to do a moment of silence and in remembrance of the memory of Matt Osborne, a.k.a. Dukect the Clown. All right. That's a bit of a long moment. Again, my thoughts and prayers to Matt Osborne's family and friends during this difficult time. Once again, Matt Osborne, better known as Dukect the Clown, the original Dukect the Clown, back in the WWF days, when they called it World Wrestling Federation. He has passed away. Again, thoughts and prayers to Matt Osborne's family and friends. Anyway, let's move on to something a lot more positive and a lot more, move on to a different subject. Let's get into the big news story in gaming. It is time for Nintendo. This big Nintendo story about Let's Plays. Because it was on May 14th this year, 2013. We had the Nintendo going on Let's Players and reviewers. They are targeting ad revenue, saying these ads right here, they're taking them on because these ideas, they do not like seeing these Let's Players and what have you going in, taking them, saying, here you go, showing our content, spoiling the games, or, they don't want them making money off, the games and such. And the first one, really the major one, was the Zach Scott Games channel. It's on YouTube, right here, Zach Scott Games. And he has been, he was the first one to sound off on this. And he was the first one to really get into this whole situation. Since then, he had, since then he's talked about the subject or what have you, but then, after that, after all this craziness, about a couple weeks later, on May 23rd, the ad earnings returned. And his quote right here, Zach Scott says, quote, I saw the revenue return and I had no further claims made on any of my other videos since the news broke. So I took the leap of faith. And since then, after his leap of faith, he's still making money. He's still doing the ads. He's doing more Let's Plays. He's doing Let's Plays of Animal Crossing New Leaf, New Super Luigi U. And honestly, I think this is a good idea for Nintendo. This is something, let's be real here, people. Nintendo really did something. So you're trying to take away ad revenue from people who do live off this stuff. And some people, it should be a job and not be a job. But I already went through this topic with Linkara. With Linkara. With Linkara, the whole ad gate situation. And if I need to repeat myself, and I will repeat myself, is, you know what? If someone does this as a job, maybe they should do it as a job, but they can't find work. I mean, we're in the United States, in this country, I know, international audience and all, I don't know what's going on right here, but we are in a very difficult time economically. And this right here, what they do, and what I do, and what these guys do, this is something they put their heart, money, and time and soul into. They sit there, they edit, they record this game footage, and they record the game footage. They edit them. They do all this type of stuff, and it makes money. This stuff is one of the biggest things out. This is one of the biggest stuff out there. It is a huge thing. It's one of the biggest, the reviews and Let's Plays, what have you. Without Let's Plays, you wouldn't have channels like Game Grumps, Super Gaming Brothers, or this Zach Scott guy, or Chugga Convoy, and all that type of stuff. There's a lot of people who do this. So, honestly, I think Nintendo is doing the right thing here. And funny thing else, this is not the first 180 that the gaming market has did. You had Microsoft last week going the whole 180 about the DRM and everything else. And honestly, I feel the reason why these companies are now doing this stuff now is because we now have the power. We realize that we are the consumers and people who want to pay your product. We don't want you to do these type of things. And with the whole Let's Play thing, it's free advertising. Let's be honest. These people who do these Let's Plays or what have you are sharing their experiences, be it positive or negative, with these games. They're sharing them, and people will say, "Hey, I might disagree with this guy. I might buy it, or I might not buy it." But the majority of people watch a game and say, "Hey, I want to play this game. I want to play all these games now," and everything else. So I think this is overall a very, very positive thing that Nintendo's done, and I hope they realize that this is going to be the future. Sony already does this. Sony lets people Let's Play their stuff, and you can monetize that content. They let people do this, and I think Nintendo should be in that same view, because in the end, you will make money, more money by this, and you get some more new fans of it. You don't alienate people. What you have I cannot speak. Alienated so many gamers and potential new customers. And what do we use? Lackluster start. Nintendo, you need all the customers you can get. So anyway, but then again, over in the UK, you got like 1,000, billions, a lot more people buying Wii U because of Microsoft screw-ups. But still, you know what I'm saying. In this type of economy, you can't screw around with the consumers. You should not alienate them. Goddamn, I can't speak. Alienate your consumer base and fans. You're not the WWE people. You're not supposed to do that. Anyway, I'm going to take a little break here, and we're going to be talking some pro wrestling. Singing the WWE, we're going to talk a little WWE and also some total nonstop action. And we're going to be talking about the ramifications of what happened with TNA Impact last night and what the positives and negatives of that is. Here on the Dukect Lounge. Thank you so much for joining me, Duke CT, here on the Dukect Lounge. Thanks once again for listening. And we are back live here on Dukect Lounge. Phone number is, as always, 724-444-7444. Once again, the number is 724-444-7444. And the call ID to connect to me, Duke CT, is 92417. Call ID is 92417. Okay, now. Now, let's talk a little something interesting in the WWE, and there's some things out there. There's a lot of good stuff happening, some would say. When you look at the Raw Money in the Bank, you see a lot of faces, and then you have a lot of heels for those SmackDown one. It's funny, isn't it? Life is funny in that aspect way, isn't it? But, you know, it just really bothers me a bit. I mean, it just bothers me how the WWE is so, you know, there's nothing really, what's the word I'm looking for? WWE, it just seems so predictable. You know, there's nothing really like earth-shattering. And I know Daniel Bryan looking good. And by the way, a great televised main event for, you know, Randy Orton and Daniel Bryan for the stuff they had. It was great stuff. Just really is just you know, I feel like that match should have been on a pay-per-view. I feel like they built it up nice, but just feel like that should be a pay-per-view event. I mean, to me, I think that would have been a lot more interesting than saying that. I honestly would have put that in the Money in the Bank instead of having Ryback and Chris Jericho go at it. Gosh, Ryback, I don't know what they did, but Ryback is somehow, I don't know how he got so low on the totem pole. It's amazing. So, I mean, it's just sad. But anyway, when I look at the Money in the Bank Raw, I'm sorry for the WWE title because the brand extension means nothing. It's going to be the Kane, Randy Orton, Rob Van Dam, the returning of Bob Van Dam to the WWE, CM Punk, Daniel Bryan, Christian, and Sheamus. That's a face-heavy WWE Money in the Bank one. That's amazing. I mean, that is truly amazing. I don't know what the whole idea was about that. It just seems to me that now the Raw money was too face heavy, but then the SmackDown stuff is, wait a minute. It's just like, okay, we have all the faces, but I don't get it. It's just now you have Barrett, Cesaro, Ambrose, Fandango, Swagger, Rhodes, and Sandow for the World Heavyweight title, Money in the Bank. That's just weird. I mean, so who are you going to cheer for? Who are they going to cheer for? I mean, I know it's going to be Philadelphia, so they automatically going to cheer Ambrose. Maybe some Fandango stuff, but Fandango and Rhodes. But to me, that's really is. I don't get that type of booking to me. I mean, you're only catering to one side of the audience. I mean, the villains, a mixture is always best. And I just feel like the WWE is just really trying to be like, well, screw it. The smarts will cheer for these guys. But honestly, to me, I always believe a mix of faces and heels. And some fan favorite heels, always been more fun instead of just having all the way faces won and all the way people who are booed here and what have you. It just doesn't really work for me. But that's just my personal opinion. Anyway, another thing interesting about this SmackDown, no less, is something that I have really been talk about, is this. I responded to one tweet. It was from John Gore 42, my Twitter machine. He says this: Del Rio putting a crowd to sleep and not reacting to him. You're surprised, Ricardo? My response is, it's sad all the effort. It's sad all the effort that WWE put in Del Rio. The dude still can't get much heat. And his response, it just really is. Says, well, when you communicate and connect with the audience, that is what will happen. I mean, that's the problem with Del Rio. In fact, that's the problem with most of these guys here. As much as I like some of them, like Sheamus, to me, he doesn't really connect with most of the crowd. He has some connection with the crowd, but the WWE doesn't really know how to push him right. Del Rio would have been nice, but they just completely rushed him. Maybe because of his age. I mean, then again, they didn't do the same for Batista. They built him slowly and surely, and then have him win the world title. It was really natural and or in an organic way. This they just say, okay, Del Rio's a big deal. We need to have him face Rey Mysterio about 10,000 times. Then you have him win the Royal Rumble, then lose to Edge in his last WrestleMania match at WrestleMania 27. Then you have him lose against the vacant world title to Christian. And then you have him drafted to Raw. Then he does nothing for a while to beat up mid-carders. Then he wins the Raw Money in the Bank. Then he wins the WWE title for CM Punk. Then he loses it to John Cena. Then he wins it against John Cena again. Then he loses it to CM Punk. Then he wins the world title from the Big Show. Then he loses it to Dolph Ziggler. Then he wins again, and there it is. It's just so... There it is. And then people just don't really care about Del Rio. No one cares about him at all. And it's sad that there is no real love for Del Rio, man. I think he's a great wrestler, but it just seems like there's no real love for Roberto Del Rio. That's how it is. And it's how it is in many other wrestlers as well. But that's the WWE's fault for not putting them on television, not putting them in putting them on Monday Night Raw or what have you. It's just the same old shows, same old stuff. And you wonder why guys like the Usos or the Primetime Players or anyone else barely get out. They get like one segment, but they're forgotten about. Or see who else? Alex Riley, Yoshi Tatsu, and a list of other superstars that has been completely buried to the point of, well, no one really cares, man. No one, no one really cares. But that's just my personal opinion. Anyway, I'm going to take another small little break here. Then, after that, we'll be talking a little total nonstop action. And we'll be talking about what is TNA's plans for Destination X this year. And, what else happened on TNA Impact as well. Keep it locked in here on the Duke CT Lounge. Thank you so much for joining me, Duke CT. We'll be right back after this. Thank you so much once again for listening to me, Duke CT.
Outside on the corner where I caught the bus, thinking in my head it's colder than I thought it was. Sometimes life is like that, and you just quiver your lips, whisper a wish, hoping someone might give us deliverance. Now deliver this message, think I could live with this message. You could just give a few seconds to come and sit in my presence. And yes, it is so precious, yes, it is a blessing. Next, I'll attempt to express it with every heavy breath, cause just to make it worth it, and just to make it real, you always made it perfect, and that's the way I feel. Sometimes we think too much, and we lose control, but it's not what you know, no, it's who you know. Days that will not end, I'm sure you've had them too, wishing you're still in bed, and yet we have to move. This is what passion do, this is what passion does.
And we are back live here on the Duke CT Lounge. Phone number, as always, is 724-444-7444. Once again, the number is 724-444-7444. The call ID to connect to me, Duke CT, is 92417. Once again, the call ID is 92417. Now, let's get the other stuff here. Let's talk about TNA. Let's talk about some Impact Wrestling now, shall we? I gotta say, this was actually a very good Impact. Even though the ratings doesn't really affect that, which, again, some people say at 9.1, but it's up. So, again, it just doesn't seem to go up and everything else. It's depressing. It just feels like nothing could get them over and everything else. They're 1.1 or anything else. And it's sad because they are doing some good stuff. I mean, the Bound for Glory series, I'm loving it. I'm loving Magnus leading everything else. I think he's a really good wrestler. I mean, the dude has that talent. I think he's going to be pushed really far. I have very high hopes with him. I'm really loving the Bound for Glory series. You have now Samoa Joe basically coming back with 10 points up in Magnus's heels. And now not only that, you have him join the Main Event Mafia. Even though Joe was there at Slammiversary and could have helped Sting, it's and everything, what have you. But also there's a lot of things that interest me as well on Impact. Not only that, another thing that interests me. The gut check match, I think the match was okay. I thought both guys did pretty well. Big O, Adam O'Harnier, I can't believe I'm not pronouncing his name. Just call him the Big O, the AKA the guy who did the stuff with Zack Ryder a couple years ago, doing the whole Long Island IV and everything else. I think he's actually, he does really good. I think he did a pretty good job. I mean, he needs some work. He needs some seasoning. Then again, the other guy who, Howe, and everything else, the guy who was doing, the other guy who did it, I think both guys, need some more seasoning in the, and everything else. Howe, the guy with the guitar, good entrance, very memorable. I think that's something. I think he needs a little more seasoning. I think he has some good future. But also, again, I think Big O really looked good. But then again, I really think he has a big future because I think TNA needs some good big guys. I mean, to me, you can get another guy to do flips or whatever, but I want some variety, people. I mean, I want variety here in TNA. And I'm hopeful someone like, get rid of Rob Terry and you get guys like, good big men like Doc, who is good, just shadow with his dumb heel gimmick. I truly believe once he turns face, they're going to be like, wow, man, this guy can go. Trust me. I think this guy, honestly, to me, Big O needs some seasoning. I think, honestly, I would give Big O the contract, but again, I think he needs to get some seasoning. But then again, they both were better than Chris Louis. That guy sucked. And everything else. So, but yeah, it just seems like, a lot. I've seen some people crap on this match, but you know what? I got some faith with Big O. I think that Big O will be good enough. I think he passes the gut check, and I think he gets in that TNA. I think he deserves the show, and I think he goes a year of OVW. That's a year, get some seasoning, and I think he could be someone really special. That's my personal opinion. I could be wrong, but anyway, when you're talking about those the gut check match, you gotta let's talk about the masked man. Let's talk about the man known as Suicide. Suicide won the X Division title after Bully Ray threatened Chris Sabin, and in a pretty good match. TNA did spoil it, and everything else that the TNA loves to do. But hey, and everything else, I think that's. But you know what? The way they did it and the build-up is. It looks very interesting because since Austin Aries is in the Bound for Glory series, what does this mean? What they revealed was Austin Aries. It looks like now he's going to do Option C again. Are they going to take him out of the Bound for Glory series? Are they going to put Chris Sabin in? Which would be a great idea. It looks like they're trying to call audible, and I think this could work. I think, honestly, you have Chris Sabin, put him in the Bound for Glory series, and what have you. Maybe have, you know what would be great? You have the Bound for Glory series, like you get Aries' place in Bound for Glory series next week. You have like TJ Perkins. You could basically dump the whole suicide gimmick. I think you should do that. Have TJ Perkins versus Chris Sabin for the chance to get Austin Aries points and Austin Aries spot at Bound for Glory. You could do that. I think it should be very interesting. And I really hope I really hope that this means that I don't know. This means some really big things. I'm hopeful that this may not mean that Bully Ray who might lose the championship here. We don't know now what's the main event Mafia going to be doing. They're going to be involved. Are they going to have new members? What's going to happen? I'm really interested and very intrigued in what they're going to do now. And it looked like it was going to be a set path. Remember, last year, Aries did something and screwed everything, and I liked that thing. It was really interesting. It shook things up. And we all knew the whole thing. I mean, Rue was going to face Storm and have his blowout, but they said, screw it. They called an audible, and I think they did something really good. I like the fact they called an audible. Are they doing it again? Are they freeing up Bully Ray so they can have a match with him and Hulk Hogan not with the title? I think Hogan said he might actually start wrestling again. So, I mean, you know what? I'll take it. I would take that and have Hogan do one more wrestling match or what have you, because a lot of people would go and say, screw it. They're going to have Hogan there. He will still get over pop and cheered. Hell, he got cheered in Philadelphia. Him and Sting got overly cheered at Bound for Glory like a couple years ago. And I was shocked. Dude, that shocked me because, hey, they still cheered him. In Philadelphia, they cheered him. So, honestly, people still want to watch Hogan. And, you know, the majority of people still want to watch Hogan. So, I think this might be another audible. Have Aries hold the belt. If that happens, what do you do then? If Aries wins, who's going to be the guy standing up? Will it be the guy facing? Which, my personal opinion, if it is going to be that guy, I think it could be some other stuff. You could have Aries face Samoa Joe, have Aries face, say, AJ Styles, a match that, honestly, a huge dream match, and I'm surprised no one actually did that yet. You can have Aries take on Mr. Anderson, trying to win back the title of Aces and Eights, and try to just swoop, just take the leadership of Aces and Eights from Bully Ray, which that could happen. Bully Ray gets screwed, and what have you, and from Aces and Eights and everything else. You have other things to go with. You have Rude. You can have the both partners fight. So you can have a rematch of that. You can have, heck, you know what? You can have TJ Perkins or Chris Sabin in that mix as well. Chris Sabin versus Austin Aries, or TJ Perkins versus Austin Aries are Bound for Glory, and bam, a new star is born. Win or lose, you can have a brand new star. I know that might be a little crazy, but that could be really genius on TNA's part. Some young guy could actually do it. Chris Sabin can win the title this way. And you know what? I would take Hogan fighting Bully Ray and have Chris Sabin take on Austin Aries for the world title at Bound for Glory. I think, honestly, I would take that. I want to hear what you guys think. I think hopefully you guys will do the same thing. But, damn, that is brilliant. God, I am so smart. But anyway, thank you so much for listening. It's the end of the Dukect Lounge. I know I need a better cutaway from this. But anyway, thank you so much for joining me, Dukect Live, here on the Dukect Lounge. Remember, as always, spread the word. You can always listen to my stuff not only live on TalkShoe.com, also you can listen to stuff on YouTube, Blip, Screw Attack, whatever, all the stuff here. Listen and subscribe and all that crazy stuff. Also, remember people, it's live every Friday night here on the Duke CT Lounge. It's live every Friday here on Duke CT Lounge. You know, I might not be available next Friday. I'm going to be out doing some stuff. I don't know yet, but every Friday I'm here live here on the Duke CT Lounge, and you can join us here every Friday night, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me, Duke CT Live. I will get some confirmation about my whereabouts of next Friday. If I'm not here next Friday, well, you know, I'll post a video up talking the reasons why about I'm not going to be here on Friday. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me here on the Duke CT Lounge. This is Duke CT here. Peace and love. I will see y'all when I see y'all later.